You've just entered the no delusion zone. I'm David Dubato. I'm going to say something perhaps for the last time, perhaps not. And it's this. Just when I thought that I could not get any more disgusted with Donald Trump, he does something to make me even more disgusted with him. And by that, I mean it was the most disgraceful performance I have ever seen, and actually that has ever been done, conducted, performed by a president of the United States of America yesterday in the White House. And of course, I'm referring to the meeting between President Zelensky of Ukraine and, I won't say the word president, and Donald Trump. This scumbag, this absolutely loathsome creature, Trump, laid an ambush for President Zelensky in the White House. He had no intention of seriously discussing aid to Ukraine, signing any kind of an agreement with Zelensky for anything. What he had planned was to try to humiliate President Zelensky. And in that, he utterly failed. All he succeeded in doing was humiliating himself and, unfortunately, the United States of America, or the oligarchy of America, as it is today. This incredibly unschooled, illiterate scumbag of a person accused President Zelensky of being ungrateful, of not thanking America enough, of not bending knee enough, of not kissing the ring and the ass of King Trump enough. And then he was joined by his aide in scumbaggery, JD Vance, the alleged vice president of the oligarchy of America. Scumbag Vance then joined in with the permission and planning of King Trump to try to further humiliate Zelensky by piling on and saying that Zelensky has never thanked America for all that they've done for them. And then how can I say, a reporter who was placed in the White House to ask an stupid, insane question, something along the lines of, to President Zelensky, "Don't you own a suit?" To which Zelensky actually had a pretty good off-the-cuff remark in that when the war's over, he'll wear a suit again. Donald Trump is a piece of shit. JD Vance is a piece of shit. Everyone in his administration is a piece of shit. I could go down the list, but there's too many of them because they're all pieces of shit. They're all scumbags. They're all traitors. They are not Americans. Oh, yes, they represent the 49.9% of American voters who voted for them because those voters, are also pieces of shit and not real Americans. Folks, what this does, as if we needed any further proof, is to further solidify America's break from its past. Its break from leading the free world, the Western world of democracies, at least since the end of World War II, 80 years this year, and becoming a pariah in its own right, supporting the criminal dictatorship of Putin, and indirectly supporting the brutal dictatorships of North Korea, Iran, and China, because those are the only countries that get along with each other. And we are now supporting them, directly supporting Russia and indirectly supporting those other pariah states, those other authoritarian dictatorships. It's an unbelievable turn of events. But knowing Donald Trump, it was predictable. And I have to say this, for those who keep saying they can't believe it, or maybe things will turn around, maybe this was just performance art, theater, meant for clickbait, sound bites, and that behind the scenes they're going to discuss the real agreement, get over it. If you're that stupid, then I really have nothing further to say to you except you're an idiot. You're an imbecile. Haven't you not been paying attention? If you haven't, pay attention. This is Donald Trump. He means what he says. The only reason he hasn't been able to do this before is because he didn't have the people around him that he has now. The same bootlickers, the same scumbags that agree with him and have more brains than he does in an evil, calculating sort of a way that allow him to do this. He now owns the complete Republican Party. He owns the House and the Senate, which composes the entire U.S. Congress. He owns the U.S. Supreme Court. He owns many of the federal courts. He owns the FBI. He owns the Department of Justice. And with his shadow president, Elon Musk, he owns every federal agency, many of which no longer exist or will shortly no longer exist, as the unelected asshole Musk decimates them, eliminates them, or lays off or fires most or all of their staff. No, he owns the government. We are an oligarchy run by a dim-witted, illiterate puppet, Trump, his clown sidekick, Vance, and the shadow president, Elon Musk. We are an oligarchy run by Silicon Valley billionaires, tech bros who don't give a shit about average Americans or the rest of the world. For sure, they don't care about alliances, transatlantic or otherwise. They don't care about democracies. In fact, they hate democracies. Democracies would not allow such things to happen, at least not strong, stable democracies with citizens that weren't also illiterate, didn't give a shit, don't pay attention to politics, as it now appears to be true in America. A strong, stable democracy where the citizens actually gave a shit, were half literate, and were invested in their country would not allow this to happen. But obviously, at least half of the American people don't give a shit, are functionally illiterate, and don't like democracy because they're allowing this to happen. Many of them voice quite regularly that they don't like democracy, that they actually adore or support Putin, the Kremlin, and Russian dictatorship more than they do American democracy. They say this out in the open. Look, if Trump is not an actual paid asset of the Kremlin, he should be, because he's doing their work. So at this point, I don't know if it's true or not that he was recruited back in the late 80s. It really doesn't matter, because he is doing the work of a Russian asset, whether or not he's on the books. That's disgusting. That's disgraceful. That's a traitor. That is a traitor. In normal times, he'd be arrested, shot, hung, or in any other way neutralized. But we don't live in normal times. So he's able to be a traitor, a disgusting pig, piece of shit, and get away with it. But America's starting to wise up. I mean, there's many like me. I'm not alone, for sure. I'm not trying to say that I am. There's many like me. In fact, 48.4% of Americans did not vote for Trump. We're all pissed off. And many of the morons that did vote for Trump are starting to wake up in their own Neanderthal illiterate ways and seeing that the policies of Musk, Trump, Vance et al. Are hurting them, finally. Look, I'm going to end it on this note. America's starting to take to the streets. I don't mean in a violent civil war kind of a way. I mean just in masses. We're starting to go into the streets to protest against this insanity, this undemocratic oligarchy, this authoritarian dictatorship. And more and more and more of us are going to do that, because that's the only way. Like I said, he owns both houses of Congress. He owns the courts. He owns the institutions of power such as the FBI, Department of Justice, and so forth. So it's not going to happen legitimately, even with court orders. He's just going to ignore them. No, the only thing that's going to change the situation in America are the people. When enough of the people wake the blank up and take to the streets and take back our republic, that's when this will change, not before. And I'll be here. I'll be here now and I'll be here then, because I'm not going anywhere. And if you want to stay in touch with what's going on and not put up with this bullshit, stay right here on the No Delusion Zone. And to help me stay here, please do subscribe. I know it sounds like a broken record, but in these days, I need your help more than ever. YouTube is shadow banning this channel. I'll just say it. I'm not getting anywhere near what I used to, and it's a long, hard crawl out back to where I was. So I need your support. Tell everyone you know who gives a damn about this country, this democracy, this republic, to watch the No Delusion Zone. Subscribe. Go to buymeacoffee.com and buy me a coffee. It helps. Until then, you all take care. Stay safe and stay sane.